Complete PET for Spanish speakers. Student's Book by Emma Haderman and Peter May with Camilla Mayhew. Published by Cambridge University Press. This recording is copyright. CD1. Unit 1. Starting off, Exercise 2.
Hi, my name's Julia Davies, and this is my room. I spend most of my evenings there and part of the weekend, though I'm out quite a lot then. It's not a particularly big room, but I've got all my favourite things there. There's my computer, which I use mainly for emailing, online chat, and looking around on the internet. And my mobile. I love texting people. I do my homework there too, as you can see from the pile of textbooks. They should really be on the bookshelf, but there just isn't any space there. I read a lot, actually. That's why there are so many books and magazines. Also, I play the guitar a bit. And though I'm not very good yet, my mum says I'm starting to get better. Then there's the DVD player. I don't often use that, but when I have someone round, we sometimes watch a film or two.
Unit 1. Listening, Part 4. Exercise 3.
When you're travelling abroad, Zoe, do you find that people do things at different times of the day?
Well, I guess the first thing you notice is how early people have dinner here in the UK. Maybe at 6 o'clock, and often in the USA and Canada too. But in Spain or South America, for instance, they don't usually have their main meal until late in the evening, and they often go out after that. By then, in a town like this, everything's closing, isn't it?
Well, I don't think that's always true. Some places stay open very late these days, particularly in the town centre.
But how do you get home here? The buses and trains all stop running around 11:30.
There are usually taxis around after that. There always seem to be people getting into them or waiting for them.
Well, even if you can get one, they cost far too much, in my opinion, anyway.
You're right about that. That's why I never take them. But I suppose you could walk home.
All the way from the town centre? You must be joking. And that's another thing. At night, in places like Italy or Greece or the Middle East, there are always lots of people around. Families, I mean. So you don't worry about anything bad happening there. But when I'm here in your town, there are times when I feel, well, not as safe. I know it seems silly, but it's true.
You may be right that older people go to bed early most nights, but doesn't that make it more fun when you're out? Everyone you see is young.
That's true.
So do people in the south of Europe get up later the next morning?
Well, school starts just as early as in that north of Europe, so I don't think they stay in bed any later, and the school day is normally about the same as here.
And when there's no school?
They have lunch later, perhaps at 2 or 3. A proper meal, that is, not just a sandwich. After that, people sometimes have a quick sleep.
I think that's sensible, if it's just for a few minutes. I'd like to do that every day.
It's certainly a good idea when it's hot. Maybe the different routines in different parts of the world are because of the weather there.
That's possible, yes.
Unit 1. Speaking, Part 1. Exercise 6. 1.
Friend.
2.
Believe.
3.
Pie.
Unit 1. Speaking, Part 1. Exercise 8.
Country. Young. Touch. Ooh. You. Root. Oh. Coast. No. Coat. Road. Ow. Town. Crowd. Found. Mountain. Now.
Unit 1. Speaking, Part 1. Exercise 11.
Maria, where do you come from?
I'm from Vari. It's a small town in Greece near Athens.
And do you work or are you a student?
I'm a student at a secondary school in the town.
What subjects do you study?
All the usual ones like maths and history, but this month we're studying modern music too. It's really interesting.
Ah. What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Well, I like listening to music at home in my room, and I sometimes go out with friends in the evenings or at weekends.
Unit 2. Starting off. Exercise 2.
1. Two. 3.
Kelly Ashby,
Yes, Miss Truman.
Max Atkinson,
Yes, Miss Truman.
Gemma Brown,
Yes, Miss Truman.
4.
I'm so tired now. I just didn't sleep.
5.
Bye, Mum.
Bye.
Unit 2. Grammar. Exercise 2.
Today we have Nadine with us to talk about the 6 months she spent in Chile. Hello, Nadine.
Hi.
You're a normal 16-year-old school student. Where did you go last year?
Last year, I lived in Chile for 6 months as an exchange student. I lived with a Chilean family. I went to school every day, and I had to wear a uniform. In Canada, I don't have to wear a uniform. It's so uncool.
Where did you stay?
I stayed in San Pedro de Atacama, high in the Atacama Desert. Unlike Toronto, there's no disco, no shopping centre, no large cinemas with choice of films.
How did you feel when you first arrived?
To tell you the truth, I was scared. San Pedro is so different from my hometown.
Did you speak Spanish before you went?
Yes, I did. I studied Spanish at school in Canada, and I thought I was good at it. But when I got to Chile, I couldn't say anything. It was awful.
What about school? What subjects did you study?
I did maths, chemistry, biology, physics, history, Spanish, and art.
Was it a good experience?
Yes, it was. I'm really glad I went there. My Spanish improved, and I even began to dream in Spanish. I also stopped missing expensive activities like going to the cinema or the disco, and began to realize that fun in San Pedro was being with my new family and friends.
Thank you, Nadine. And if you'd like to know more about being an exchange student, contact our hotline number on 0800 444.
Unit 2. Grammar. Exercise 2.
It was in my second week. The sun was shining, and I was feeling good. I was walking to school when I saw a group of dogs. I was frightened, but I didn't know what to do.
Unit 2. Grammar. Exercise 3.
Suddenly, a woman appeared from nowhere, and she started screaming at the dogs. The dogs ran off. I said, "Gracias," and went to school.
Unit 2. Grammar. Exercise 7.
This morning, I woke up early to visit Ryokuku High School. I looked out of the window. It was raining. I had a quick breakfast and we got ready to go. We drove to school. At the school, we changed our shoes for slippers. As I was putting on my slippers, my Japanese friend started looking at my feet. The slippers were too small.
Unit 2. Listening. Part 1, Exercise 3.
1. What time does John have to leave school today?
Woodland High School. Mrs. Drew speaking.
Yes, this is John Fuller's mother. He's got another doctor's appointment today at 2:15. Last week I picked him up at 2:10, but we got there late. Can I get him 5 minutes earlier today, at 1:45?
2. What are the students going to do today at 11 a.m.?
Now, there'll be some changes to your timetable today. After break, we're going to see a play performed by some Year 10 students. That should finish by 11:15. We'll do maths then. I know we normally do sport at 11, but we'll have to do that tomorrow instead.
3. What does Nathan have to buy?
I've just joined the table tennis team, but I'm not sure I've got enough money to buy the equipment.
Don't worry. The balls are really cheap, and I can lend you my brother's bat. He never uses it. You'll have to get some good trainers, though.
I've already got some.
4. What will the weather be like tomorrow? Are you ready for your school trip tomorrow, Beth? You're going to those new outdoor swimming pools, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
Lucky you didn't go today. It hasn't stopped raining.
That's what I'm worried about. Our teacher looked it up on the internet, and it says it'll be dry, but cloudy. Let's hope it's right.
Yeah, that's better than too much sun, I think.
Unit 2. Speaking. Part 4. Exercise 2.
Do teenagers work in Colombia?
Yes, they do. Teenagers in my country work to earn extra spending money. What about in Vietnam?
Well, I don't work, and actually very few teenagers in Vietnam work. In my country, most parents don't allow their children to have a part-time job. We have to go to school and study hard. In my opinion, it's not a good idea for teenagers to work and study at the same time. What do you think?
I'm not so sure. I agree that teenagers need enough time to study and do their homework. If they work too many hours, their marks will go down. However, working part-time can be a good experience. Don't you think so?
Maybe. For some teenagers, working could be a way to learn about money and society. However, we have to think about the future. I think that studying is the most important thing. Do you agree?
Yes and no. As I said before, I think having a part-time job can be a good experience. However, we need more rules. For example, teens shouldn't work more than 15 hours a week and only 2 or 3 days a week, like at the weekend. I think they can work more hours during the school holidays.
Have you got a part-time job?
Yeah. I sometimes work in my father's office. I have to deliver letters and documents around the building. I earn a little bit of extra money.
Really? That sounds interesting. What did you say?
Teachers complain that students who work don't do their homework well, and they often do badly in tests. I think that students can work to earn some pocket money if they are good students.
Good point. I haven't got a job. I'm going to concentrate on my studies and look for a job when I'm older.
Unit 2. Speaking, Part 4. Exercise 7. 1.
Generous George imagines giant giraffes.
2.
Good girls give grapes to gorillas.
Unit 2. Speaking, Part 4. Exercise 9.
G. Big. Give. Geography. Girl. Agree. Get. Frog. Teenager. Gym. Apologize. Large. Imagine. Geography.
Unit 3. Listening, Part 2. Exercise 2.
Hi, I'm Spencer Watson, and I'm here to tell you about 4 unusual ways to have a great day out. First, how about going back in time with a steam train journey through the beautiful Scottish countryside? This is on the railway line made famous by the Harry Potter films. Starting at Fort William, near Britain's highest mountain, the train departs each morning at 10:20, getting into the lovely fishing village of Malig at 12:25. The return journey to Fort William starts at 14:10 and takes an hour and 50 minutes. The fares are good value for money, and it's a great experience for steam train fans of any age. It's very popular in summer, so it's best to book ahead. For a really exciting day out, Go Wild adventure courses offer hours of fun in 17 different locations. For a fairly small admission fee, you can climb tall trees, go from treetop to treetop on a high wire, cross waterfalls far below, go through tunnels, and lots more. Before you start, though, they give you full safety advice. To prevent accidents, they put a belt around your waist and the tops of your legs and attach it to wires. And then you're off, completely on your own. To take part, you have to be fit, over 9 years old, and at least 1.40 meters tall. Opening hours are usually 9:30 to 3:30. If the adventure course isn't really your thing, but you like seeing really big wildlife, you can't do much better than dolphin and whale watching in Wales. Voyages of Discovery organises regular trips out to sea, passing small islands with their enormous seabird populations, and then on to even deeper waters. And there, very occasionally, you will see whales, while on almost all the trips dolphins will appear. You may also see huge sharks, although they are quite rare these days. The voyage isn't cheap, but most people who've done it agree that it's well worth the money. If instead you'd like to be up in the sky, try a balloon flight from any of the hundreds of sites across the country. It usually begins early in the morning when you meet the pilot, crew, and other passengers, and the huge balloon slowly fills with hot air. It rises gently, and then you go whichever way the wind is blowing. The actual flying time is about an hour, and although I think it could last a bit longer, it's certainly a wonderful experience. It's also possible to book a flight just for 2, for any time of the year.
Unit 3. Vocabulary. Exercise 5.
Hi, Ava. Are you and Megan going away on holiday soon?
Yes, on Saturday. We want to set off very early in the morning.
Are you going to the coast?
No, we went off beach holidays last summer. There were too many people. We've decided to take up skiing instead. We're off to the Alps.
Do you know how to ski?
Not really. That's why I'm going to put my name down for lessons.
I tried it once, but I found it really difficult. After 3 days, I gave up and went home.
Well, the lessons go on until late in the evening every day, so I should improve quickly. Megan's a good skier, and I've got a lot to learn, but I'm sure I can catch up with her. I'm really looking forward to trying anyway.
I'm sure you'll have a great time.
Unit 3. Speaking, Part 2. Exercise 1.
There's never anything to do in this town, is there? Let's choose a hobby, an outdoor one, for the weekends and holidays.
OK then, how about going fishing? We could go to the river in the valley over there, or even down to the lakes.
Well, I think I'd prefer to do something a bit more exciting. And anyway, I'd feel sorry for the poor fish. Perhaps we could try a water sport. Something like canoeing or water skiing, maybe.
Yes, but we can't afford to hire a boat. I think we should do something cheaper, or better still, free.
All right. Why don't we go rock climbing? That's free, and it can be exciting too.
I think it'd be better to do something less dangerous.
OK, let me see. I know. What about mountain biking? It's outdoor, quite safe, fairly cheap.
Yes, we could hire a couple of bikes and see if we like it. So, shall we do that then?
I think it would be great. We could ride through the hills and into the forest. So, yes, let's go for that one.
Unit 3. Speaking, Part 2. Exercise 4.
OK then, how about going fishing?
Perhaps we could try a water sport. All right, why don't we go rock climbing? Yes, let's go for that one.
Unit 3. Speaking, Part 2. Exercise 5.
Well, I think I'd prefer to do something a bit more exciting.
I think we should do something cheaper. I think it'd be better to do something less dangerous.
Unit 3. Speaking, Part 2. Exercise 6. 1.
Would you like to go to the beach?
2.
No, I want to do different things.
3.
I don't want to go to any museums.
4.
What about going on a gondola?
5.
Do you want to stay for long?
6.
We have to book a hotel in advance.
Unit 3. Speaking, Part 2. Exercise 8. 1.
Fish.
2.
Child.
3.
Life.
4.
Give.
Unit 3. Speaking, Part 2. Exercise 10.
I.
river. Since. Quick. Live. Windy. Ill. I. Climb. Kind. Dive. China. Tidy. Decide.
Unit 4. Starting off, Exercise 2.
Where did you go on holiday, Abby?
Well, last year we went to Zanzibar. It's an island, but it belongs to Tanzania in East Africa.
You always do exciting things, don't you? Which activities did you do in Zanzibar?
We stayed in Stone Town for a few days and went sightseeing.
Oh. What did you see there?
There were palaces and markets, and we visited the museums.
Do you like visiting museums?
It's okay, but I prefer going shopping.
Did you buy anything?
Oh, yes. You know I love buying souvenirs. I bought some clothes and jewellery.
Which activity did you enjoy doing most?
In the second week, we stayed on the north coast and I went snorkeling for the first time. It was fantastic.
Are there any activities you'd still like to try?
Well, I've never been snowboarding. I'd love to try that. All my friends say it's the most exciting winter sport. Have you tried it?
Unit 4. Grammar. Exercise 6.
And here are the answers to this week's general knowledge quiz. Did you know that Asia is bigger than Africa?
Yes, and more people live in Asia than any other continent. Well, Russia is the largest country in the world.
And now for the animal facts. The most dangerous animal on the planet is not the lion or the shark, but the tiny mosquito, because it carries diseases. In the list of the top 10 most intelligent animals, there are dolphins, orangutans, some types of elephant and whales, but definitely no dogs. The African elephant is the largest and heaviest land animal, but the blue whale is the heaviest living creature. On average, it can weigh around 150 tons. That's 150,000 kilos. I wouldn't like to share my home with a howler monkey. They are the noisiest animals in the world. The slowest moving fish is the seahorse. It would take this fish about an hour to move 15 meters. The tallest dog in the world is the Great Dane, and the smallest is the Chihuahua. You've got some answers about places, haven't you, Alyssa?
Yes, I have. Did you know that Nagoya train station in Japan is the biggest in the world, and Shinjuku station in the same country is the busiest? If you like diving, then you should go to Belgium. Nemo 33 is the deepest pool in the world.
And the last two answers. Antarctica is the coldest, driest and windiest continent. And while we're talking about large places, the Amazon rainforest is larger than any other forest in the world.
Unit 4. Grammar. Exercise 4.
I come from Sweden. I live in a town about an hour away from the capital, Stockholm. There are only about 4,000 people. It's really tiny. It's a very nice place to live in because it never gets too crowded. There are several interesting sights, including a castle. Because it's a small town, it's extremely safe. Sometimes I find living here quite boring. I'd like to live somewhere with a more lively nightlife. There are no youth clubs or nightclubs, and we often have to spend the evening outdoors, even when it's absolutely freezing.
Unit 4. Listening. Part 3. Exercise 3.
Oymyakon in East Russia is extremely cold, and people live there. The lowest temperature of minus 71.2 degrees was recorded in 1926, beating all records. Dave Gunhill reports.
Extremely low temperatures are frequent in Oymyakon, with temperatures going below minus 45 degrees Celsius regularly. Winters are long and cold and often last at least 9 months. The summers are much warmer than the winters. Temperatures can rise to 35 degrees Celsius, but then there is the problem of mosquitoes. About 2,300 people live in Oymyakon. Life is very much the same as 100 years ago, apart from television. For example, there are no indoor bathrooms and people use ice instead of water from the tap. The valley used to be famous because some of the oldest people in the country lived there. Fyodor Arnasov, Oymyakon's oldest ever inhabitant, died in 1967. He was 109. There are about 300 children in the local school. Up until recently, there didn't used to be any heating in the school. The children did their classes in their coats. These young people dream of having mobile phones, an internet cafe, and a disco with a CD player that works. A local businessman, Alexander Krylov, wants to bring tourists to the area. Of course, he has also built the town's first hotel to attract these tourists. Each of the 10 rooms has hot and cold water. The most famous visitor until now is the Hollywood actor Ewan McGregor, who visited this place, in summer of course, on the back of a motorbike.
Unit 4. Speaking. Part 3. Exercise 3.
In this photo, I can see a lot of boats on water. It looks like a traffic jam. The water looks really dirty. I think it's a market in the morning. It could be somewhere in Asia. There seems to be a lot of fruit and vegetables on the boats. There are some green vegetables, but I don't know what they are. On each boat, I can see a person. No, I can see men and women. Some people are wearing hats. I think they're selling things, but there aren't any people buying. On one of the boats, there appears to be somebody wearing a colorful shirt. Next to this boat, there's another man, but I can't see him very well. I think it's the morning. The weather is hot and sunny. I don't think it will rain.
Unit 4. Speaking. Part 3. Exercise 5.
Let me see. In the photo, I can see a very busy market. There are lots of long boats on the river, and it's very... how do you say it? Very crowded. The people are selling fruit and vegetables, maybe oranges and something green too. I don't know if it's a fruit or a vegetable. What was I saying? Oh yes, there are lots of people and I think it's a really popular market. The local people probably go shopping here all the time. I think it's quite cheap. What else? think it's spring or summer because people are wearing shirts, not jumpers. Well, most people also have a hat, so it's probably a hot day. Let me think. So, I think it's an interesting place to do your shopping. It's a good idea.
Unit 4. Speaking, Part 3. Exercise 9. 1.
Cheap. Weather.
2.
Near. Where?
Unit 4. Speaking, Part 3. Exercise 12. 1.
Weather. Bread. Head. Feather.
2.
Air. Where? Pear. Bear.
3.
Ear. Near. Appear. Here. Fear.
4.
E. Cheap. Dream. Cream. Team. Beach.
Unit 5. Listening, Part 4. Exercise 2.
So, Ben, how often do you and Liam actually get together these days?
Whenever I can, Erica. Usually about once every 2 months.
I don't think that's enough, really, to keep a friendship going. Couldn't you visit him each month or ask him to come here?
Well, it's a long way to go. More than 400 kilometres, I think.
How long does it take?
Over 6 hours each way. So you spend half the weekend on the coach, going up and down the motorway. It's so boring.
How about taking the train? Wouldn't that be quicker?
I don't think I could afford it. The fares are really high.
Why don't you get a student travel card? Your tickets would be a lot cheaper.
That's an idea.
And Liam could get one too. Then he could sometimes come here on Saturdays and Sundays to see you.
I don't think he's keen on doing that. He likes his new town a lot. He wants to stay there at weekends, he says.
I see. So you go and see him, but he never comes here?
I'm sure that's because there's so much to do there. It's an exciting town, and I know he's made new friends there. But we get on really well, and we're not suddenly going to stop being friends.
No, I'm not saying that at all. But maybe you need to remind him that you've been friends since you were little kids. And tell him how important a friend he is to you. He might not realise that, especially with all the changes in his life right now.
Unit 5. Grammar. Exercise 7.
Internet sites like MySpace, Bebo and Facebook are a great way for young people to keep in touch with friends, but there are things you should do to stay safe. On some sites, you don't have to use your real name if you don't want to, so invent a name for yourself. On most sites, it's a rule that you have to give an email address, but this doesn't have to be your normal one. You can use any address. You can write lots of interesting things on your online page, But something you must never do is put your house address or phone number. In fact, you shouldn't give any information that could let strangers know your identity, because on the internet you never know who is looking. Remember too that you mustn't put your friends' personal details on your page, or you could put them in danger. So the message is, have fun, but take care.
Unit 5. Vocabulary. Exercise 7.
My brother took some CDs out of my room without asking. I wasn't happy about it because I wanted to play one of them.
Usually my family all meet at our house on December the 31st, but this year my cousins can't come. It's a shame.
I don't want to go to that youth club again. There's never anything to do there, and there's nobody to talk to.
And then Jessica walked in. I couldn't believe it, because I thought I'd never see her again.
Unit 5. Speaking, Parts 3 and 4. Exercise 2.
Picture A.
Well, once I had to make a speech to nearly the whole school in front of hundreds of other students.
How did you feel?
At first, I was really nervous, and I couldn't remember what I had to say. I needed to keep looking at my notes. But after a few minutes, I started to feel a bit more relaxed, and then I just talked and talked.
What happened in the end?
Everyone clapped. I was delighted when I heard that.
Picture B.
I was really excited about that concert. I just had to see it. But thousands of other people wanted tickets too. That's why the queue was so enormous.
How long did you have to wait?
6 hours. I was so bored. But just before I got to the ticket office, it closed. They'd sold all the tickets.
And what was your reaction to that?
I was angry. A lot of people had bought 10 or 20 tickets each, so they could sell them later and make money.
Unit 5. Speaking, Parts 3 and 4. Exercise 4.
My friend asked me to go to the cinema with him last week. He bought the tickets and I met him there. But when the film started, I realized it was a horror film, and my friend knows I hate them.
I had my first driving lesson yesterday, but it was a bit boring. My teacher talked for half an hour about his new car, and I only drove for 10 minutes before he told me to drive home.
Unit 5. Speaking, Parts 3 and 4. Exercise 5.
My friend asked me to go to the cinema with him last week.
All right.
He bought the tickets and I met him there.
How nice.
But when the film started, I realized it was a horror film.
Oh dear.
My friend knows I hate them.
Poor you.
Unit 5. Speaking, Parts 3 and 4. Exercise 7. 1.
I had my first driving lesson yesterday.
How horrible! 2.
But it was a bit boring.
Oh dear. 3.
My teacher talked for half an hour about his new car.
Brilliant! 4.
And I only drove for 10 minutes before he told me to drive home.
How nice! Unit 5. Speaking, Parts 3 and 4. Exercise 8. 1.
I had my first driving lesson yesterday.
Brilliant! 2.
But it was a bit boring.
Oh dear. 3.
My teacher talked for half an hour about his new car.
Oh no. 4.
And I only drove for 10 minutes before he told me to drive home.
Poor you. Unit 5. Speaking, Parts 3 and 4. Exercise 10.
Worked. Closed. Excited. Needed.
Unit 5. Speaking, Parts 3 and 4. Exercise 12.
Id. Started. Wanted. Depended. Delighted. Excited. Painted. D or t. Clapped. Talked. Bored. Happened. Robbed. Relaxed.
Unit 6. Starting off. Exercise 2.
Ben, you're watching TV again. What's on?
It's a programme about farmers in Kenya who are trying to save elephants. Did you know that the elephant population has fallen by 80% there?
Yes, but how much TV do you watch a day?
I'm not really sure. It depends on whether I have a lot of homework or not. I always watch Alphabet Road.
Oh? I haven't heard of Alphabet Road. What's it about?
Oh, it's the story of some neighbours on a crazy street. It's on Thursdays, and it always makes me laugh. What's your favourite programme?
I don't watch much TV, but I love the Luke Robinson show. He interviews all kinds of people, including famous people. Did you see his interview with Tom Cruise?
You're joking. I can't stand those kinds of programmes. I prefer playing computer games to watching that.
Really? Look, it's 9 p.m. Why don't we switch over and watch the headlines? I like to know what's happening in the world.
Good idea. Here's the remote control.
Unit 6. Vocabulary. Exercise 3.
Yes, it was brilliant. My uncle managed to get me a ticket for the early performance. When Monkey came on stage, the audience went wild. The only thing I didn't like was the venue. It was too crowded.
Unit 6. Grammar. Exercise 1.
Would you like to see a show tonight?
Yeah, why not? We haven't been out together for 3 months. What's on?
Well, there's that musical, Kids Rock. Have you seen it yet?
Afraid so. I saw it last week. I haven't seen the circus show, Lyalla, yet.
I've already seen Lyalla. My cousin took me on Saturday.
How about Best Friends?
Fantastic idea. I've just finished reading the play.
Oh, no. It's not a play, is it? I don't fancy that.
Let's stay in and watch a film on TV then.
We can't do that. My dad's just taken the TV to be repaired. We couldn't go to your house and watch the film, could we?
Of course. Why don't we get a pizza on the way to my house and we can watch the film and have pizza?
What a great idea.
Unit 6. Listening. Part 1. Exercise 4.
1. Which is Mark's sweater?
Excuse me, I've lost my sweater. I left it by the pool. It's a plain one. There's no pattern or anything on it. Has anyone handed it in?
Let me see. We've only got 3 sweaters here, I think. Is it this one? It's got a V-neck.
Sorry, no. Mine's got a round neck. Oh, there it is. It's that one there. The cotton one. It was very expensive.
Well, be more careful with it next time. Here you are.
Unit 6. Listening, Part 1. Exercise 4.
2. What has Mary lost?
Hi, I was emptying my backpack in the sports centre cafe because I needed to pay for something and I couldn't find my purse.
How much money was in it?
Oh, it's okay. I found that. But I had a pair of earrings inside my bag too, in a little kind of pocket, and I think they fell out when I pulled my towel out. Has anyone brought them here?
Sorry, no.
Unit 6. Listening, Part 1. Exercise 4.
3. What has John lost?
We've come to pick up John and he's playing tennis in his sandals.
Really?
Yes. He's always losing things. We thought he'd lost his socks, but we found those. Have you got his trainers?
What do they look like?
Unit 6. Listening, Part 1. Exercise 4.
4. Which coat is Barbara talking about?
I was wearing my sister's coat and now I can't find it. She's going to be so angry with me.
We've got several coats. What does it look like?
It's quite long, with 5 or 6 buttons down the front.
Anything in the pockets?
It hasn't got any pockets.
Unit 6. Speaking, Part 4. Exercise 3.
Your photographs showed people going out. Now I'd like you to talk together about what you like to do at home and what you like to do when you go out.
So, Ivan, what do you like to do at home? Do you like watching TV?
Yes, I love watching TV. We normally switch on the TV after dinner and watch a film, a football match, or a documentary. What about you? Do you like watching films?
Yes, but I prefer watching sports to documentaries. I find documentaries a little bit boring. Did you see the basketball match last night?
No, I didn't. When I'm at home, I also enjoy playing cards or other games with my 2 brothers. On Sunday afternoons, we often stay in and play together. Do you ever play cards at home?
No, not really. When I go out with my friends, we usually meet in the local shopping center. It's not much fun. I love going to the cinema, but it's very expensive. How often do you go to the cinema?
I agree with you. The cinema is very expensive, but I go with my parents once a month and they pay. Have you seen the new Batman film yet?
No, not yet. I like going to see shows with my family. I don't really like serious plays, but I love musicals like Cats, We Will Rock You, and The Lion King. Do you like musicals?
I like some musicals, but I think I prefer the cinema. My sister really loves the ballet. I've been once, but I thought it was too long and slow. I think it was Swan Lake. Do you like classical music?
Oh, no. My brother plays the violin, and we went to a classical music concert with him last year. It was awful. I wanted to wait outside, but my mom said I had to sit there. It was 2 hours, and there was no interval.
2 hours long. Poor you.
Unit 6. Speaking. Part 4. Exercise 8. 1.
I really like going to pop concerts, but it's difficult to get tickets sometimes. They sell out so quickly. Have you been to any concerts recently?
I disagree. You can get tickets quite easily on the internet, but they can be expensive. The last concert I went to was Shakira last year.
2.
My friends and I like to play video games, usually in someone's home. Do you sometimes go to a friend's house in the evenings?
I go out with my friends every weekend. Have you ever been to the disco Capital? It's great.
3.
I sometimes invite friends to my house for dinner. It's a lot of work, but I like to cook for my friends. Do you like eating at home, or do you prefer to go out?
You're right. Cooking can be fun when you're preparing it for friends, but I'm not a very good cook. I like going to other people's houses for dinner, but usually we just go out.
4.
At the weekends, I often meet up with my friends for coffee, and then we usually go shopping. I always end up spending too much money on clothes I don't need. Do you like shopping?
I bought some batteries for my camera last weekend. They were so cheap. I was really happy.
Unit 6. Speaking. Part 4. Exercise 11. 1.
Friend.
2.
Thief.
3.
Tie.
4.
Peace.
5.
Society.
6.
Die.
7.
Anxiety.
8.
Niece.
Unit 6. Speaking. Part 4. Exercise 13.
Friend. E. Thief. Peace. Niece. I. Tie. Die. Ire. Society. Anxiety.
Unit 7. Listening. Part 2. Exercise 2.
Tell me, Chloe, have you always been interested in the weather?
Oh, yes. It's really fascinating in this country because it can be quite different in the north, in the west, and in the south, for instance, and it doesn't usually stay the same for long.
Mm-hmm.
It can be warm and sunny one moment, wet and cold the next. In fact, you can sometimes have all 4 seasons in one day.
So, when did you first photograph storms and things like that? Was that while you were at university or in your first job?
No, I was much younger than that. I was just a kid, really. We were coming home from holiday and we got caught in a thunderstorm. I took some pictures and luckily they came out really well. Since then, I've done lots of other kinds of photography, especially when I was a student, but I still love photographing lightning.
That must be quite difficult. How do you get good pictures?
Well, the first thing is the right camera. It doesn't have to be expensive or particularly modern. I've had mine for many years, and I avoid using digital ones. But the main thing is where you go to take your pictures.
Which are the best places?
Well, some people take photos from their bedroom windows, but I live in a flat where there's no real view of the night sky, and so I have to go out. Standing in fields and on hills during a thunderstorm is rather dangerous, so I drive into the countryside, park, open the window, and start taking pictures. You're much safer with all that metal around you, like on a plane.
So, what about photography during the day?
I really enjoy taking winter photos when it's really freezing.
Which are your favourite? Snowy scenes?
I used to like doing those just after snowstorms, and sometimes those beautiful shapes like flowers that you see on glass when it's frosty. But nowadays I prefer mountain scenes with lots of ice, especially when you have water flowing down valleys and over waterfalls, and it gets so cold that it freezes solid.
And during the rest of the year?
Storms, I think. You can get some great pictures when the wind is really blowing, particularly on the coast. Whenever there's a gale, I go down to the beach and take loads of photos of the waves. They can be amazing. And I'd like to take pictures of clouds, though it's often too dark to photograph them when it's stormy. Also forests, with everything bending in the wind. I've always wanted to try that too.
Unit 7. Grammar. Exercise 1.
It's getting a bit late, Owen.
Yes, but look at the rain. I'm hoping it'll stop soon, though I don't think there's much chance of that.
No. The weather forecast said it's a big storm, so it's going to rain for hours. What time do you have to be at the station?
I'm meeting Jason and Mark there at 8:30 in the cafe near the main entrance. The train leaves at 8:45.
It's quite a long walk to the station, isn't it? And it's 8:15 already. Look, I'll take you in the car.
Oh, thanks.
Unit 7. Vocabulary. Exercise 1.
Hi, Leon. Toby here. I'm really pleased you're coming to our new house next week. The quickest way here is by train to the city centre, which takes an hour and is usually on time. Then you can get on the number 64 bus to Edge Hill, getting off by the stadium. From there, it's about 15 minutes on foot. Or, if you don't feel like walking, you could jump in a taxi and ask the driver to take you to the new flats in Valley Road. When you get out of the taxi, you'll see the main entrance in front of you. See you soon.
Unit 7. Speaking. Part 2. Exercise 1.
So why are you keen on going by tram? It'll be very crowded in the rush hour.
Well, because it always keeps moving, even when there's heavy traffic. So at least we'll get there quite quickly.
I think I'd rather go on the metro, really.
I don't fancy that.
Why not?
Well, for one thing, it's summer, so it's going to be really hot down there. And for another, it gets too crowded.
So what about going on the bus then? I know it's slow, but it's cheap.
Actually, what I'd most like to do is sail down the river.
That's a good idea. We can ride to the harbour on our bikes, put them on the boat, and be in the other end of town in half an hour.
Right, that's sorted then.
Unit 7. Speaking. Part 2. Exercise 4.
1.
Why are you keen?
2.
Well, for one thing,
3.
it's going to be really hot.
4.
Sail down the river.
5.
We can ride to the harbour.
6.
Half an hour.
Unit 7. Speaking, Part 2. Exercise 8.
I'd prefer to sail down the river.
Unit 7. Speaking, Part 2. Exercise 9. 1.
It gets so hot on the metro in summer.
2.
It's usually cheaper to go by bus.
3.
My brother wants to be a helicopter pilot.
4.
Maybe we should go by scooter.
5.
What would you prefer?
6.
A kind taxi driver took me to the station yesterday.
Unit 7. Speaking, Part 2. Exercise 10.
My older brother is a taxi driver, and my sister would prefer to be a dancer. My other brother is a better singer than my sister.
Unit 7. Writing, Part 1. Exercise 1.
Do you think people in 2020 will still go everywhere by car?
No, I don't. For one thing, the traffic will be too awful for us to go anywhere.
Actually, we're quite close to that situation already.
Yes, I agree. And cars cause so much pollution, especially in cities. I think a lot of countries are going to reduce the number of vehicles.
So, do you think most of us will end up going everywhere on foot?
Yes, I think we probably will. And I wouldn't mind that at all. In fact, I'd rather do that.